Today's lesson is called A Short and Sweet History of Puddings. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
I am Roger, and today we're going to talk about dessert or sweet things to eat. We're supposed to be good boys and girls, and we're supposed to eat healthy diets, lots of fruits and vegetables and lean meat and dairy products and stuff like that. But hey, sometimes we want to be naughty and we want to have something sweet, even though we know it's probably bad for us, especially if we're diabetic or something like that. But what the heck, we can have a pudding from time to time. But did you know that not all pudding is like the pudding that you can buy at your local convenience store? We have sweet puddings, and we also have savory puddings, which are kind of salty and spicy.
There you go. In the British Isles, the pudding they have there, they might eat with breakfast or something like that, is totally different from the dessert puddings that I enjoyed while I was growing up. And yes, I do use the past tense here, or I did use the past tense, because I no longer like pudding, okay? No, I'm going to say no to pudding right now. I am not going to indulge my sweet tooth by having some pudding because I'm just not into pudding anymore. But I am excited about today's lesson because even though I'm not a huge fan of pudding anymore, I am a huge fan of history. And today we're going to be learning the history of pudding. So let's get started. Give me as many helpings as you can of this history of not only pudding, but of puddings, plural, like Roger said before. We'll be learning about a wide variety of puddings. All right, everyone, with that, let's get started on our lesson. We'll start reading right after this.
A short and sweet history of puddings. To anyone with a sweet tooth, puddings are a wonderful creation. They come in dozens of types due to their long history. Best of all, the myriad of textures and flavors available means there is a pudding to satisfy even the pickiest of palates.
Hello, 第一部分我们看到单字 myriad 这个字是名词，指无数、大量。例如 There are myriad reasons for George's success as a guitarist. George 当吉他手成功的原因相当多。另外可以用 the or a myriad of 加名词来表示非常多的各种各样的点点点。可以说 There are a myriad of bars and bistros that open to late hours in this neighborhood. 这附近有各式各样营业到很晚的酒吧及餐酒馆。接着我们看到一个名词 texture， 课文中指口感，像是 Fuji apples are known for having a crisp, crunchy texture. 富士苹果以清脆的口感著称。另外，这个字除了上面的意思，还可以指质地、质感。可以说 The texture of the cloth looked rough, but it felt very soft. 这块布料的质地看起来很粗糙，但摸起来却很软。再来，我们看到单字 available， 这个字是形容词，课文指可获得的、可用的。举例来说John was told that there were no more available seats on the train. John 被告知这班列车上没有座位可以坐了。另外，这个字还可以指有空的、有时间的。可以说 Rick isn't available to drive me to the train station, so I'll have to take a taxi. Rick 没有空载我去火车站，所以我必须搭计程车。
Okay, so let's take a look at the title here. A short and sweet history of puddings. Now, notice here puddings in the title has an S on it, so that tells us that pudding in this usage is countable. We do have puddings as a countable noun when we're talking about different kinds of pudding. Generally speaking, though, pudding is non-count because it's sort of like pizza or milk or things like that, where when you eat it, you can't really tell how much you're eating unless you talk about the actual serving. I'd like a cup of pudding, for example, or a tub of pudding, but usually it's non-count. How much pudding did you eat? I ate 5 containers or whatever.
You ate 5 tubs of pudding? Wow.
Well, it's just an example. Maybe I used to eat that much pudding, but...
that's a lot of pudding.
Probably that's why I'm so overweight, because I used to like pudding so much. But we're talking about different kinds of puddings, so that's why we're saying a history of puddings here. So here in the first paragraph, it says, to anyone with a sweet tooth, puddings are a wonderful creation. That, of course, again, if you're talking about sweet puddings. So, of course, to me, pudding is similar to the pudding that they sell in convenience stores here. Purin, as they call it in Japan, I believe is also similar. That is very sweet. But again, if you have a sweet tooth, if you just love sweet foods, then they're wonderful. They are wonderful creation. Creation just means something that someone created. They made it.
Sometimes a creation can be kind of like an invention, something that you made that didn't exist beforehand. But here, pudding, well, even if you have it these days, it was created long ago, invented long ago, you can still call it a wonderful creation, something that someone made that apparently you think is wonderful. Now, moving on, the next sentence says, they come in dozens of types due to their long history. And this is the part that's exciting to me. No, I do not have a sweet tooth. I don't like sweets or anything like that. But I do love history. So, again, I'm excited. Let's learn about the history of puddings because, yes, there is a long history to be had here, to uncover here.
Indeed, and best of all, the myriad of textures and flavors available means there is a pudding to satisfy even the pickiest of palates. Interesting, this sentence does have a lot of interesting vocabulary, so let's take a look at some of these terms. Myriad, that just means a large number of something. One can see a myriad of scooters on the streets of Taipei during rush hour every day. A myriad of. So here we've got a myriad, or a large number of textures and flavors. Texture just kind of means, refers to the quality of the pudding. Is it soft? Is it hard? Is it crunchy? These are different kinds of textures. Also flavors, of course, the way they taste. Apple, banana, cinnamon, they're probably different kinds of flavors. Custard. And also, we've got the word available, which means you can get at them. You can buy them. They are available. You could talk about someone being free. Are you available tomorrow? I've got a job that I want you to do for me. I'm wondering if you have free time. Are you available?
Right, you could say something like, customer service representatives are now available. Yeah, you might call into a company, you might have a complaint about one of their products or services, and you might hear that on the phone. Yes, customer service representatives, people at the company, are willing to help you right now. You just have to be connected to them. Yes, they're available, i.e. they're willing to give you their time. They'll talk with you, so on and so forth. Anyways, yes, next we're going to start learning the history of puddings. And this history is going to be fantastic because puddings come in all shapes and sizes and textures. They feel certain ways, they taste certain ways, so on and so forth. There's so much pudding out there available to you. All you have to do is go out there and grab it. Get some pudding for yourself. Now, let's go ahead and take a short break here, but when we come back, we'll start to learn about the history of puddings.
In the United States, a pudding is usually a soft and creamy dessert that is made with eggs or milk. Think of custards, creme brulees, and chocolate mousses. In the United Kingdom, puddings aren't necessarily creamy or milky. For example, toffee pudding and jam roly-poly, both common family desserts, are more similar to cake and can have a crumblier texture. Quite possibly the most famous British pudding is Christmas pudding. This very moist fruitcake contains candied orange peel, brown sugar, raisins, and spices. Traditionally, brandy is poured over the top and set on fire.
"第二部分，我们看到一个形容词 creamy， 指浓郁滑顺的，含鲜奶油的。例如 The salmon was covered in a creamy sauce. 那块鲑鱼上布满绵密的酱料。 再来，我们看到一个单字 crumbly， 这个字是形容词，指脆的、易碎的。举例来说 Please use a plate when you eat the crumbly biscuit or it will fall everywhere. 当你吃这个很脆的饼干时，請記得用盤子，不然會掉得到處都是。另外，補充一個相關單字 crunchy， C-R-U-N-C-H-Y crunchy 指鬆脆的、酥脆的。可以說 Maggie set out a bowl of crunchy nuts for her guests. Maggie 擺了一碗酥脆的堅果招待她的客人。接下來我們看到形容詞 moist 用來指濕潤的、潮濕的，像是 Don't give the plant more water if the dirt is still moist. 如果泥土還是濕潤的，就不要再給植物澆水。另外，補充這個字的名詞 moisture， M-O-I-S-T-U-R-E moisture 指濕氣、水氣。可以說 This machine helps reduce the amount of moisture in your home. 這台機器有助於減少你家中的濕氣。
Okay, so again, we're talking about puddings in today's program. So, yeah, there are all sorts of puddings available for even the pickiest of eaters. If you're really choosy or picky about your pudding, you're going to find something that you will like. Now, in the United States, a pudding is usually a soft and creamy dessert that is made with eggs or milk. Yes, I should say that when I was growing up in the United States, a pudding was basically one particular flavor. It was made with eggs or milk, and there wasn't very much variety. If my mother said, hey, we're going to have some pudding for dessert, we knew exactly what we were going to get. But evidently, there are many different kinds of puddings out there in the world, which we'll talk about in just a second. But to most Americans, it's usually soft and it's creamy, okay? It's not really too hard. It's like cream. Cream is kind of like milk, but it's a little harder. And it, of course, as we said, is made with eggs and milk and probably lots of sugar.
Anyways, that's the United States, that soft and creamy dessert. That's how pudding is found there. Now, here are some examples of this American typer style pudding. Yeah, think of custards, creme brulees, and chocolate mousses. There you go. These would all be examples of puddings.
Indeed, those pretty much translate straight over to Chinese there. But if you go over to the UK or the United Kingdom, puddings aren't necessarily creamy or milky. Yes, indeed, I've heard that before. I've never been to the UK before, so I'm not too certain about their puddings, but I understand there's a much more developed culture around puddings in England than there is in the USA, so they're not necessarily like American pudding. They're not necessarily creamy or milky. They probably do have creamy and milky kinds of pudding there, but they have other kinds as well. For example, toffee pudding and jam roly-poly, both common family desserts, are more similar to cake and can have a crumblier texture. So, yes, if you've had this kind of stuff before, it probably is very tasty to you. We've got toffee pudding is a kind of pudding there. I've never had that. I can't imagine what that possibly is. And this is kind of fun here. Jam roly-poly. I bet it's got some fruit jam in there or something.
That sounds about right. Jam roly-poly. Jam's got to be involved in some way, shape, or form. And again, here we're talking about puddings to be found in the United Kingdom, and we're still kind of confining things to dessert-type puddings. I believe that there are other types of puddings there in the UK and the British Isles. I believe with a full English breakfast, you eat something called black pudding, and this is not for dessert. I believe that black pudding is made with blood and meat and stuff like that. It's kind of more like sausage than a dessert food, but we'll talk about that at some other time, maybe. Anyways, yes, it says here that these are common family desserts there in the UK, and we're talking about toffee pudding and jam, roly-poly, and they have a crumblier texture, i.e., they're not smooth and creamy at all. They're more like cake, and they're more like a cake that might be very, very light and flaky and might fall apart. That's what it means to be crumbly, by the way.
Yep, to kind of fall into smaller pieces, like a cake can crumble, or cookie crumbs, for example. And quite possibly the most famous British pudding is Christmas pudding. Hey, that sounds like a great time of year to be in the UK, to have some Christmas pudding there. This very moist fruit cake contains candied orange peel, peel, brown sugar, raisins, and spices. Ooh, I cannot continue with this lesson anymore. That just sounds so tasty. Well, it is a moist fruit cake, a cake that is made from fruit, and it's moist, which means it's soft and chewy. It's not dry, and so therefore it's very fun to eat this, and it's got orange peels that are sweetened. That's what candied means here, kind of like Mi Jen, which my wife introduced me to quite some time ago. Yes, it's kind of candy, basically. And again, it contains all sorts of other things besides the candied orange peel. It's got brown sugar, raisins, and spices. And traditionally, brandy is poured over the top and set on fire.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
They set it on fire?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I need to go on YouTube to see if somebody actually does this there. But my goodness, brandy, of course, is a kind of alcoholic beverage made from grapes. And they pour it over the top of this pudding here, the Christmas pudding. And then they take out their match and set it on fire. Hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Wow, a fruit cake that you set on fire? How about that? Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up day 1 of our article on the history of puddings.
In Asia, rice pudding is a popular dessert. Known as kheer in India, it is made by boiling milk and sugar with rice. Raisins, nuts, and saffron can be added to improve the flavor. Coconut milk, tapioca, and mango are also commonly added, giving this dessert a light, tropical flavor.
最后第3部分我们看到一个单字 tropical， 这个字是形容词，指热带的。例如 Gina always spends the winter months in a tropical climate because she can't stand cold weather. Gina 总会在冬天那几个月前往热带地区，因为她无法忍受严寒。
All right, everybody. So far, we've been talking about different kinds of puddings in the U.S. and the U.K., but let's talk about pudding here in Asia. In Asia, rice pudding is a popular dessert. It might be popular here in Taiwan as well, but we're talking now about a kind of pudding that is popular in India, known as kheer in India. It is made by boiling milk and sugar with rice. That sounds pretty good, too. Here. So, yes, you got some milk, and you got some sugar, and you got some rice, and you mix those things together, and then you boil it, or at least you boil the milk first, and then you add the sugar and rice. But then later on, you could add raisins or nuts or saffron to improve the flavor. And saffron is kind of like a really expensive kind of spice.
So there you go. That would be some fancy kheer. Now, coconut milk, tapioca, and mango are also commonly added, giving this dessert a light tropical flavor. So there you go. You can add raisin and nuts. But will this give your dessert a tropical feel? No way. That's why you go ahead and add things like coconut milk and maybe mango. If you eat these particular ingredients, it makes you feel like you're in a tropical place. Why? Because coconuts and mangoes only grow in tropical areas. Hot areas near the equator there. So there you go. If you go ahead and add these things, you'll make your kheer feel very exotic. You'll give your dessert a light tropical flavor. By the way, yes, we've talked about this word tropical a little bit. Here's an example sentence. I love to vacation in tropical areas like Key West in Florida.
Yeah, I guess that is quite tropical. Hawaii is quite tropical. Indonesia, the Philippines, etc. Lots of people like to go to tropical beaches for their vacations. So yeah, this is probably a regional variation in India. If you add these ingredients like coconut milk and tapioca and mango, yeah, it'll feel like you're at the beach and you'll want to stay there for the rest of your life. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到 To anyone with a sweet tooth, Puddings are a wonderful creation. 对任何喜欢吃甜食的人来说，布丁是个美好的发明。好，句子里面的 sweet tooth 甜牙齿，它是用来表达喜欢吃甜食。那常见的用法是 have a sweet tooth， 这个 tooth 固定要用单数哦。我们顺便来学几个跟牙齿相关的片语。第一个叫做 by the skin of one's teeth。奇怪，牙齿怎么会有皮肤呢？好，这个用语其实是用来表达千钧一发。同学们可以想象，假设如果你的牙齿是有皮肤，然后在某个紧急事故里面差一点呢就被撞断整排牙齿，幸好只磨到牙齿表面的皮肤。那我们用这种方式来联想，你也许就会记住 by the skin of one's teeth， 它就有这种千钧一发侥幸的意思。好，举例来说， Frank passed the exam by the skin of his teeth。 Frank 侥幸通过考试，他差一点就不及格了。好，第二个片语叫做 a kick in the teeth， 字面上的意思是牙齿被踢到，那它引申是用来表达突如其来的打击或是挫折。例如Getting fired was a kick in the teeth for him。 对他来说，被开除是个突如其来的打击。好，那么第三个片语 sink one's teeth into 什么什么。 sink 当动词，它有陷入、沉入的意思。同学们可以试着联想，当这个凶猛的动物在咬东西的时候，它的牙齿是不是会直接深陷在那个东西里面，咬得很深嘛？这就表示它咬得很用力。那这个片语引申的意思就是全心投入，卯足了全力。举例来说， He can't wait to sink his teeth into learning to fly a helicopter。 他迫不及待想要全心投入学习开直升机了。好，那么第四个片语叫做 like pulling teeth。 这个片语很好理解，字面上的意思就是像拔牙一样，不是喜欢拔牙， like pulling teeth 像拔牙一样。那它不是用来表达很痛，而是指非常困难的情形，就像拔牙一样困难。举例来说， Getting him to admit his mistakes was like pulling teeth。 要他承认自己的过错是很困难的。好，第五个片语叫做 grit one's teeth。 Grit 这个字是拼作 G-R-I-T， 它当名词可以用来表达毅力。那当动词呢，通常会搭配 teeth 来表达把牙齿咬紧。那引申的意思就是咬紧牙关，在面对困难挑战的时候展现出决心跟勇气。举例来说， Running a business can be overwhelming. You just have to grit your teeth and keep working at it. 经营生意可能会让人忙不过来，招架不住，但你必须咬紧牙关继续做下去。好，以上是这些重点整理，我们来回顾单字吧。
Creation. The chef's most recent creation has become wildly popular and made her restaurant quite famous. Flavor. I go to this store to buy ice cream because they often have unusual flavors that I've never tried before. Available. Robin asked the clerk if the shirt was available in any other colors. Moist. If you want to bake a moist loaf of banana bread, I recommend this recipe. Tropical. My family keeps several brightly colored tropical fish as pets.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.